customer's genuine BSA Rocket Goldstar. So your Goldstar, they made a 350 and a 500 single. These came about by a bloke, his name was Eddie Dow, I think. So he decided he'd get a Goldstar frame, which is what that is, and stick the twin A10 engine in it, tuned up A10 engine. The BSA liked the idea and started producing them in '62, I think. They only made 1,500 of them, so it's quite a rare bike, and there's lots and lots of replicas out there, but this one is all stamped up. It's got all the right numbers on it. It's got the right close ratio racing gearbox in it. Yeah, it's all it'll be a very nice motorbike. Basically, we've got that as it's come to us. Lots of boxes of bits, so I need to just go through the bits, assess what's missing, work out what's what really.
What differentiates the original from a replica?
Basically your frame numbers should start with this one here, look. As long as it starts GA10 and the engine starts DA10, that means it's a genuine Rocket Goldstar frame and Rocket Goldstar engine. So it is a genuine one. It's definitely the right frame. It's not actually a Goldstar single frame. This is the frame for one of these. It's got all the big reinforced mounting lugs for the engine, the wrap round on the front, but there's no kink in the other side. On a single, there's a kink down here in the frame to clear the oil pump on a single.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all pucker gear.
What do you like about it then?
It's just a nice period. When they're together, they're quite an upright bike. So they've got the pillion seat on them and stuff like that. But you could turn that into a really, really nice little race bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what size engine's got it?
650 twin, parallel twin.
They're quick for their day?
Yeah, I mean for their day, 1962, I think they top out about 110 mile an hour, something like that, which is plenty quick enough on something like this.
And does it handle well?
I think they're reasonable. I wouldn't have said the 60s, they handle like
A 60s bike?
I think this frame, the ultimate frame in the 60s was your Norton featherbed frame. Everybody wanted a featherbed frame with the road holder forks.
And this was an
equivalent of, an equivalent of. But it's got some nice bits on it. It's got 4 leading shoe front brake, which is
So this was a race bike?
No, it's a road bike.
Road bike. Okay.
They did race them. In theory, they were a lot nicer to ride than the single. People will argue it, obviously. Probably just about as well. I think these are about 48 horsepower, something like that, brake horsepower. Not quite sure what a single Goldie horsepower is, but these were supposed to be smoother. But I don't think they really worked in racing conditions, to be honest with you. But normally your motorbike front brakes, you only have one side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get what you call a normal front brake. Then you get a twin leading shoe front brake, where both cams operate. And this is a 4 leading shoe, so you've got brake that side and that side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know, so let's go through it. I don't know if all the bits are there or anything.
Let's do it.
Right, so we've got exhaust, bit of a wiring loom, right there, got to be front mudguard stays. There should be 4 of those, so there's one of them missing somewhere. Cables, obviously. Another headlamp stay that'll go there somehow. Right, a set of levers. Right, that's another rear hub, but clearly we've got one on there, so we don't need that. The brake linings, so we don't need that one. There's the other stay, look. I know what that is. I think if you put clip-ons on, that goes in there. Bars down there.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that lines up with that. Look, you see the marks where the clamps go. So that obviously clearly goes in there, and that scallops to clear your steering tensioner. Right, that's a load of engine pullers. Oh right, that's one of them, isn't it? Black instead of stainless. Very expensive. You wouldn't want to go and buy that lot. I don't know how much these rev counters are now. They're a lot of money, and they're called chronometrics. Smith's gauges, they're a lot of money. Very nice too.
Very nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really nice.
I'll have to ring the guy and see if he wants the clip-ons put on, because you had these drop bars, or you can have clip-ons, or they did touring bars.
Yeah, okay.
They did sort of 3 different types, I think. Oh, it's front brake tension bar. That's probably only be one of those if you put the single-sided brake on. That just goes from there to there, bolts on there, and stops your brake internals turning.
Okay.
Otherwise it would just spin round and round, you know. That's stainless steel, that's mild. So that is probably your back one that he's replaced with stainless. That looks like it's chrome, so that's probably the right stainless one for that. Right, that's all your brake parts. That's your 4 shoes, your actuating levers. That's a set of brackets to hold your headlamp if they weren't the original John Tickles, look. Right, so that's all brake parts by the looks of it. Well, it is all brake parts. Now that will take some investigating, because if you put these together wrong, basically they'll just spit you clean over the handlebars.
Nice.
Yeah, because they just snatch. Right, that's your original, if you had your single-sided brake on, yeah? That's the original front brake plate. So that bracket we were talking about comes down and bolts to that. That stops all of that turning.
Okay.
Right, that's your rear number plate. Just bolts on the back mudguard, that's all that is. That's another steering damper. It's just a bit of bling with BSA written on it. That's what that note was about that was in there. When fitted, readjust your damper position, then glue in badge in central position. So that's just taped on there at the moment, yeah? That's obviously when he bought it, that's how it comes. Right, what we got here? No idea what they are. Probably something to do with the front forks by the looks of them.
Something's written on the end of the box. I don't know if there's anything to do with it, but it's old.
Engine sprocket 17 tooth, 18 tooth, 22 tooth, gearbox 16 tooth. Yeah, so that's all your spare engine sprockets if you want to gear it up or down. That's your outer casing for the gearbox. So they're all your different sprockets if you want to gear it up or down, yeah? Woohoo, we've emptied the box. So they're your sides of, that'll be that way. That way, so you have one of those either side of the brake. It should look nice when it's all together, won't it?
Looks really pretty, isn't it?
Right, that's your touring bars. So they're your straight touring bars. Dip beam, main beam, horn, kill switch. Right, that's your outer primary cover. Drilled out breather. Nice drain. See, that'll keep, that's an aftermarket, but I don't think they were ever like that originally. It was just a plug. So what you do if you want to drain your crankcase oil down because they wet sump, that's your oil level. That one you undo, it'll only drain your oil down to that level there. So that's enough to oil the chain, yeah? All nicely drilled for wire locking. And that's your breather, which is not used, they're not normally like that, so somebody's drilled that out for breathing. Right, clearly we don't need that, because that's already on there. £15 a pair, you'd like to buy them now for 15 quid, I tell you. Some sort of rear fog lamp. That's all the old fork internals that have been rebuilt clearly. That's your engine and gearbox plates. Maybe original, may not, don't know. But he's obviously got a set in there because it's all in there. This is what you call a pre-unit engine. So the engine and gearbox are separate from each other.
Okay.
I think 63 was the last year, possibly, because I read somewhere they used up a load of parts they had left over to make these. Only made 1,500 of them.
Yeah.
And then it went to unit construction, which means your gearbox is in your engine casings.
Okay.
Right, so we don't need any of that. 2 spare carburetors, an old horn and an old front stand. Right, that's the seat, obviously. Quite nice, isn't it? And that's your seat line. See what I mean? When they're together, they're quite a uprighty sort of bike.
Yeah.
Gaskets, good number plate. 34 PE. Yeah, Dad's Jaguar was 94 BP. So those 2 letters there will tell you where the bike came from or where it was registered. BP's Brighton, so you can look up where PE is.
Peterborough or something.
Could be anywhere. They did some real weird abbreviations on them. That's another steering damper. Another spare rear lamp, which I don't think we're going to need. Right, that's your gearbox shifter mechanism. That's your kickstart spring. That's your kickstart quadrant. Spare bolts, a couple of gaskets. That is your clutch actuating arm. That's the spring loaded and your pull ratchet. That bit there, yeah, goes on there. Yeah? So that's your gear shifter, goes on the end of there, whichever way around it goes. That spring there goes on there and clicks it up and down, so it's spring loaded all the time. That's your back spring and your seal washer that goes on this side here. I haven't done a BSA gearbox for a while, but I do know my way around them. So that's all gearbox parts. That's your clutch actuating push rod with your adjuster on it. That's the drain plug out the bottom of that originally. Right, so that looks like it's pretty much all there for making the gearbox and kickstart work. O-rings, spare switch. That's just odd electrical parts. Ah, right, these will be your 4 leading shoe brake brackets. You know that black one I showed you? So this will be the two to hold the 4 leading shoe, yeah?
Yeah.
So you've got 2 of those, one either side. Haven't got a clue. Oh, actually, saying that, when I was looking at those brake things, I couldn't see anywhere to hold a cable, because you have to have the cable stops. So possibly that's them. No idea. Possibly. Really don't know.
All will be
It's
revealed.
something to do with mud guards, but I don't know what. Right, that is your wiring. Green and yellow on British bikes is always generator. Oh, there goes one already on there. That goes into there. Cover's falling off. So that go up, and this should have a control box on it somewhere, voltage regulator control box. But I've no idea whether there's one here or not. Put that with wiring. That's a razor blade. I would imagine back brake, front brake. That's probably the original front brake for the single side.
Okay.
Ah, the original bracket is there. Cool. That's your rear number plate. They go on there and there, either side, and that goes on your front mudguard. So you have your number plate on the front mudguard like that. Cool, isn't it?
It is really nice.
So that goes on there. Hopefully the hole's already in the mudguards and I haven't got to guess where to put them. Right, headlamp. Nicely wired up and totally original by the looks of it, look.
Nice.
We won't touch that. Kickstart. Always a good one. Gear shifter. Little short gear shifter for the reverse because you're going backwards on it. Normally your feet would be there. Yeah? So your gear lever came out of that hole there and went forwards. But because your feet are here,
Yeah.
you put your gear lever on back to front. So it's a shortened one, goes that way. Rear sprocket we don't need because that's already in and done. Clip-ons. Look like an original set. Some of them had the lugs welded on to take the levers. Basically they bolt on there and there. So they look like that.
Right.
Much more your race sort of look, you know. Right. That is your front brake lever for the 4 leading shoe. So you have 2 brake cables coming through, yeah? So as you pull your brake lever, it pulls through there. That all looks a little bit homemade to me. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. I'll have to look into it. That's your advance and retard on the magneto.
Yep.
Because you've got the choke on the side, which is quite a common thing in the 60s. Instead of having a choke up on the handlebars, they put them here.
Oh, okay.
So you just lean over, do the choke, kick it and go, yeah? That's homemade. I don't quite know what's going on with that. We'll have to have a look and see.
What tells you that then?
Holes different sizes. That one isn't round, look. Whereas that one underneath all looks quite good, but you're clearly not going to get your ferrule runners in there because that nut's too big. So we'll have to make something up there. I'm not quite sure what, how, or... yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that's your other lever. Quick adjust clutch. Okay, so we've got all of that by the looks of it. There's spare, however you set your front forks up. Either with your gaiters, without your gaiters, with solids on brackets to hold the headlamp. So they're spare. Prettiest bit of the motorbike is this.
Fuel tank?
Yeah. Nice, isn't it?
Mm.
I would say that's been chromed, pinstriped, put together, but it hasn't lacquered the silver. See, it's dull.
Yeah.
So I'll probably get Crimbo to bung a layer of lacquer over that, just to brighten her up, you know. I don't want to force it over. Obviously, it goes a lot lower than that.
Pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be nice when it's all together. See what I mean? But they're quite an upright bike. But that's a nice touch. Look, it's got like a breather out the top. Should have a little bit of rubber on there to stop it hitting the paintwork. All the brackets and bolts are there. It's not quite lined up, but it will go with a bit of jiggery pokery. So that's that.
Yeah.
It's not, apart from the front brake and working out what the guy actually wants, it's not a massive job at all.
No.
Because it all looks and sounds. The only thing that will be a downfall on it when I get all the gearbox together is see if it sparks. Because those magnetos are renowned for being a pain in the bum. If it has to get sent off, it has to get sent off. But I'd rather not touch all the timing on the engine and all that. I'd rather it just sparks, and that was that.
Yeah.
Might get away with just cleaning the points in it, who knows. The only other thing that I haven't seen is that should have a little rubber bung in it with BSA written on it. And the only other thing I haven't seen is that should have a stop on it. Right, so that's that bar that went in the middle, look, that we found. That is a plate that just rubs on that, so you can click it. It just clicks over those, yeah? Click, 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 yeah. Tighten it, loosen it, wherever you want. I just got some shots of these because I didn't know what was there. And again, we found all the headlamp brackets and everything, so that's good. Might have to put a right angle on the throttle cable. I haven't looked at what throttle cable or what cables are on there. Oh no, they're all on the bike, aren't they? Yeah, so it's just now voltage regulator, the bungs go in there, which will be pennies, and that bit there, which will be pennies. Forks have been rebuilt. We'll have to take the plugs out and see if they've got any oil in them or not. Yeah, the most difficult thing on that would be me trying to work out how the brakes work. My dad had a TR2B Yamaha, which has got a 4-leading shoe like that, but it's massive. It's like that. The spokes are only about that long.
Oh right.
Huge, bloody great thing. Can't remember the size of them now. They're massive. And he literally spat him clean off.
Really?
Because the bloke had said, "Oh yeah, I've rebuilt," and he put it all in back to front.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you know, because you're riding around a paddock, you just touch it, don't you? Brands flat out from the start line into the first corner. You're hard on the brakes. Bye bye.